this project. So thank you for joining. We will have a handful of introductory slides, and then we'll get straight on into the ability to provide your comments on the document. So before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself and some of my program colleagues that are here tonight. My name is David Gitlin. I'm a member of the Public Affairs team, and I'll be moderating tonight's public hearing. Frank, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Frank Green. I am the Assistant Program Administrator on the IBR program.
Thank you, Frank. And Angela.
Yes, thank you, David. Good evening. My name is Angela Finley, and I serve as the environmental lead for the IBR program.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, so tonight's virtual public hearing is being captioned in English and in Spanish. So those captions are available in both Zoom and YouTube. If you're on YouTube joining us tonight, there's a link to view both English and Spanish captions in a separate browser window noted on this slide, and that's ibr.news/captions. And if you're in Zoom and would like to access closed captions, you should see the CC closed caption button on your toolbar. So you can click that and have access to the captions. Okay, as I mentioned, there's a handful of introductory slides to set context for why we're all here tonight and what we're accomplishing. So I'll go through those as briefly as I can so we can have as much time as possible for public comment. So again, this is for the IBR program draft supplemental impact statement. The IBR program is a continuation of the I-5 Columbia River Crossing project. The draft SEIS for the IBR program is a supplemental environmental analysis document that builds on the 2008 draft environmental impact statement, 2011 Final EIS, and 2011 record of decision completed for the Columbia River Crossing project. In the IBR program, there's a modified locally preferred alternative that builds on the Columbia River Crossing locally preferred alternative and includes modifications made to address changes in the physical environment, community priorities, and regulations. This modified locally preferred alternative includes improved active transportation facilities and connections. It extends light rail from Expo to the Evergreen Boulevard and includes bus on shoulder. There are 3 new light rail stations, replace bridges over Columbia River and North Portland Harbor, modifies 7 interchanges on I-5, has 3 through lanes and at least 1 auxiliary lane in each direction, includes variable rate tolling for motorists using the river crossing as a demand management and financing tool. The draft SEIS also studies a no-build alternative, which would be where none of the improvements associated with the modified LPA would be implemented, and other planned projects that are independent of the IBR program would proceed. The project includes design options. The design options being studied include multiple design options for bridge configuration, including a movable span, single level, double deck / stacked, studies with or without C Street ramps to and from I-5, includes either 1 or 2 auxiliary lanes, possible parking rides at waterfront and evergreen transit stations, and the I-5 alignment is either centered or shifted west between SR 14 and Mill Plain Boulevard. That's a lot of information, and I wanted to share how you can dig into that content at your own pace. You are able to access the draft SEIS yourself in many ways. The document is available and accessible to all. It adheres to ADA standards. You can search online to locate specific information, and there's an executive summary that's included and interpreted into multiple languages. You can view this document, executive summary, and other materials online at www.interstatebridge.org/draft SEIS. We also have hard copies available for your in-person review. Those locations are listed on the screen in front of you. I did want to highlight that we also have one at the IBR program office, so you're welcome to stop on by Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our office at 500 Broadway, Suite 200 in Vancouver. I also wanted to highlight your ability to access IBR office hours. So if there's particular content that you would like to speak in more detail to technical experts about, you can sign up for an individual office hours session, and that's at interstatebridge.org/calendar. And I welcome you to do so. So tonight's public hearing is another avenue for us to hear your comments. Your comments provide feedback that helps the program refine design options, update technical analysis, and inform the final supplemental environmental impact statement. Your comments should be specific to information that you learned or read within the draft SEIS. When sharing an opinion on design options or the analysis, please provide information from the analysis that helped form that opinion. For a comment to be included as part of a formal record, it must be submitted in one of the official ways, and I'll say those in a moment. Comments submitted through social media and informal conversations will not be recorded as formal comments. To ensure that the administrative record accurately and completely reflects the documentation received during the public comment period, any written comments provided should not include any hyperlinks to outside materials or information. Any materials or information you wish to have considered should be included within the submitted comment. Attachments to emails must be specifically referenced in the comment text, including specific citations to page number and passage from the attachments. And if you have an audio or video attachment, that must be either transcribed or submitted via the Draft SEIS voicemail line. I wanted to cover a handful of ground rules for our public hearing tonight. So this time is set aside for you to provide verbal comments on the draft SEIS. Your testimony will be captured by a court reporter and entered into the official record. This is not a question and answer session. We did 2 of those earlier in October. Tonight is only for us to hear your comments. So the staff involved on this meeting tonight will not be responding to any comments in real time. So this really is your opportunity to speak to us, and we will not be responding to any comments or answering questions. And if you have questions about the findings or the modified locally preferred alternative or design options or anything else about the SEIS, you can email the program at info@interstatebridge.org or set up office hours with the link shared before. We're asking that we all adhere to a handful of meeting norms as we share our opinions and comments on the draft SEIS. So please be respectful and treat each other's with courtesy, regardless of differing opinions. No profanity will be allowed. So if there's any offensive language or profanity, I will mute you immediately. Please stay on topic. So your comment should pertain to the draft SEIS. Including the modified LPA design options, technical findings, and analysis of benefits and impacts. Please avoid any disruptive behavior. Again, you will be muted and removed from the webinar. And please follow my instructions so that everyone has an opportunity to participate. And those instructions will be in just a moment, and they're pretty minimal. Other ways to comment, you have until November 18th, so a little bit more time to submit a web-based comment at interstatebridge.org/draft-SEIS. You can email a comment to draftseis@interstatebridge.org. You can send a comment to the IBR office through the mail, and you can also call the office to leave a verbal comment, and that's 866-427-7347. And if you're reading this meeting in Spanish language captions, you can provide your comments in your native language or any native language. So the public hearing process, you will each have 3 minutes to share your comment. Please use the raise hand feature to provide those comments. We're scheduled from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. But we will take a 5-minute break at 7:15 p.m. And again, you're allowed to provide written comments at interstatebridge.org/draft SEIS. One other thing I would note is that we have several attendees here tonight, and my priority is to allow everybody to make a comment who wishes to first before we allow a second multiple comment. But again, you are allowed to provide comments on the website or any of those other methods that I mentioned. Okay, so we're about ready to get started, and the way that we are going to operate the public comment portion of this meeting is I will call on individuals by the raise hand function. So as you raise your hands, I will unmute you, and then you have 30 seconds to provide your comment. Sorry, you have 3 minutes to provide your comment. My colleague Robert will hold up a sign when you have 30 seconds left. Robert, can you share that sign? We may need to remove backgrounds, Robert, just so you don't get fuzzed away. So you'll have that 30-second alert, and then I will mute you at 3 minutes. So with that said, we are able to get going. So if you'd like to provide a comment with your 3 minutes, please raise your hands, and I will unmute in the order that I see raised hands. Okay, there we are. Okay, so Carol Colleen, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I looked at all of the videos that you had posted showing the different options of the bridge. And it's a bit overwhelming looking at all the options, and I don't really understand the impacts of like the C Street on-ramp and off-ramp. But two thoughts that came to mind is that I appreciate that you've got kind of a low profile structure that it looks like it will not interfere with the traffic going in and out of Pearson Field. But my main comment is that I really feel that this should not have a lift span option. I think that, you know, we have so many traffic backups now with the lift span, and designing a bridge that avoids that, I think, would be ideal for traffic going north and south on that bridge. And that's all I had to say. Thank you for putting this meeting together.
Thank you, Carol. And if you've just joined us and would like to provide a comment via the public hearing, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, and I will call your name in the order that I see it raised. So next we have Bradley. Bradley, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I live in Camas, Washington. I did get a chance to review the draft SEIS report, really well put together. My main concern going into that report was seeing if there was going to be a toll plaza or making people stop for tolls. But after reading that, I could see that it would be automated or license plate reader for tolls, which sounds like a much better option. Ideally, of course, there would be no tolls at all. Making people pay tolls for a bridge use tax that is on an interstate doesn't really make sense to me, but I understand if they are a necessity, at least there would be automated digital tolling. My main comment, though, is going to echo the previous comment. A lift bridge would not really make sense in my eyes to stop traffic for a large bridge that is going under the bridge. Today, it doesn't really make sense. It does seem a bit antiquated. My understanding is there's a railway bridge, the BNSF bridge, a little further west that swings open, and then river traffic likes to stay on that north side of the river. They don't want to move back towards the middle. But if we could build a bridge that has the span higher in the middle, So we don't need to have a lift. That'd make a lot more sense, diverting bridge traffic towards the middle of the river rather than staying on the north side. I think a lot of barges do use that today rather than go under the middle of the bridge. And then my last comment would be around light rail. I definitely think light rail is a necessity, having traveled around for business and around the world for fun. Any city that has a workable light rail to and from the airport is a huge boon for tourism and for business. Ensuring that this bridge carries light rail traffic to and from Vancouver would be awesome and something that I would look forward to. Thank you. Thank you for putting this on.
Thank you for your comment, Bradley. And if you've just joined, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you to make a comment. Lori, oops. Looks like that was an error. Okay, Lori. Lori, I'm going to unmute you to see if you have a comment you'd like to share. Seems like the hand was an error. Okay, next comment will be from Bob Ortblad. Bob, you have 3 minutes.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Very good. Well, I've been the site that you're planning to close that bridge is a very difficult site to build a bridge with 200 feet of soft, mushy soil. Your own engineers have described it as basically mush. So it's a very complicated site to build a earthquake resistant bridge, very complicated, very expensive, and much safer, more earthquake resistant, more economical was an immersed tube tunnel technology that's self-supporting, like almost like a floating bridge. Unfortunately, 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago now, IBR produced a fraudulent tunnel evaluation, immersed tunnel evaluation. It was proved fraudulent because they more than doubled, actually quadrupled the estimated dredging and excavation. I got a hold of their calculations and they had to reduce them by half. They really should have reduced them by 3/4. The Coast Guard is still telling the IBR to either evaluate a lift bridge, which nobody wants, or a tunnel, but the IBR continues to ignore or rely on this fraudulent report to dismiss a immersed tunnel. Several engineers, other than myself, have looked at this and agreed that it's a much better solution, more earthquake resistant, quicker to build, many positives, less environmental. You don't have this massive freeway. It's going to have be about almost 100 yards wide and a half a mile long on both banks. Be huge piles of concrete on both banks. With sound and noise pollution, you can actually have waterfront parks with the tunnel. Again, I've been a critic for a couple of years now, and my Twitter account is full of good, solid reasons and some not so solid reasons, I guess. But that's my comment. It's based on a fraudulent evaluation. It needs to be redone by consultants independent of WSP, which has a vested interest in the bridge. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. And if you've just joined us, you're welcome to use the raise hand feature to provide a comment. Okay, I see your hand up, Bob, and since there's no comments in the queue, you have another 3 minutes.
One thing I criticize of this bridge is basically it's going to be the steepest interstate bridge in the country. On the Vancouver side, it's going to have a 4% slope with an S curve, which frequently has black ice and fog. It's going to be an extremely dangerous bridge. The 205 bridge has a wreck almost every other day. It's one of the most dangerous bridges in the country. This bridge will actually be steeper and have a north-facing slope, more prone to ice and snow and wet conditions. I think again, an immersed tunnel could be built, which would be weather protected. Again, more earthquake resistant, many other advantages. So I guess my use of my time will go to the next point. They didn't do a very good job on the EIS on the fish. BPA has spent $20 billion in the last 20, 30 years trying to save the salmon. This bridge is going to cast shadows and provide eddies for predatory fish that will eat juvenile salmon. They've made no estimate on the damage to the salmon. They've mentioned how it might affect them, but they've made no estimate on the possible damage to the migrating salmon. And I'll go for that and lower my hand for now.
Thank you, Bob. Next, we have Lori. Lori, you have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I had technical difficulties before. Okay, thank you. A couple of comments. I live just off of 307 and I work on Jansen Beach. It's about just under 3 miles. Currently, if I am going to work, it's about 7 to 10 minutes. If I'm heading south or heading north, any given day around 1:30 up to 7:30 takes me an hour and 15 minutes. I don't see how the draft right now addresses the traffic coming off of Marine Drive from the east. I've seen a lot of the different renderings of how the roads are going to go, but I'm concerned about the traffic prior to the bridge. And just secondly, I do work at Jansen Beach Moorage. I'm very concerned about the homes that are going to be lost. We are having a housing crisis, and to come in and swoop and take a lot of homes away is very concerning to me. And if what I saw as well about the access for freeway off of Hayden Island, it appears that there's only one way once you get onto the island to take I-5 is only going north. It doesn't offer a option to drive south back on I-5. You're going to have to take a different road. So I am just concerned about a lot of it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment, Lori. So I'm keeping an eye on the attendee list, and the number is changing. So in case you've just joined us, if you'd like to provide a comment on the supplemental draft SEIS, you're welcome to do so by raising your hand using the raised hand feature on Zoom. I'll just keep this slide up as a reminder of how to participate. Great, thank you, Taylor. Taylor, you have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for putting this together. I just wanted to express my support. I was very glad to see that a light rail extension of the yellow line from Expo Center to Vancouver is included in the plans. I live in North Portland, and I live very close to the I-5 bridge as it goes over the river, and I'm very excited to see that there is that extension, because I think that would really help clear some of the passenger single occupancy vehicles going across the bridge, and help to reduce traffic congestion that way. So I just fully support that component of the plan. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor, for your comment. Welcome to those who may have just joined. We are currently in the public hearing component of our meeting. So if you'd like to provide a comment, you can use the raised hand feature on your Zoom toolbar, and we will record your comment. Okay, Bob, you have another 3 minutes.
Just a sort of an engineering point or traffic safety point again. The IBR is proposing to reverse the grade of the two clover leaves on the Vancouver side. Right now, the on-ramp comes down, it's clover leaf and comes down. Is the way you should have a clover leaf, and the off-ramp goes up. That's they're reversing these. They're going to elevate the clover leaf ramps, and basically WSP, which is their general engineering consultant on their website, describes clover leaves as freeway relics, but the IBR and WSP plan to rebuild two freeway relics with basically the wrong grade for that type of clover leaf. It's going to be an on up ramp and a downward off ramp, which would be tend to cause trucks and cars to spin out in a downward spiral, and trucks and cars to slow as they're trying to enter the freeway. So just another bad design, basically, besides the 4% downgrade with an S curve. So I'll let it go at that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. I've just been given a note that in case you've dialed in via the phone number on Zoom and you'd like to raise your hand, you can press 9 on your phone. So if you are called in, you can raise your hand by pressing 9, the number 9 on your phone. Otherwise, if you'd like to provide a comment, you can use the raised hand feature on Zoom. Okay, Bob, you have another 3 minutes.
Thank you again for my 3 minutes. I don't need that many, but basically, one of the proposals the IBR has is for building 1,270 parking spaces for park and rides at the cost of somewhere around 116 million last time I saw. These park and rides are right alongside the freeway. All they're going to do is encourage more cars to driving on the freeway. It would make much more sense to spend $116 million on downtown housing than housing for cars. That seems like we should be trying to discourage more freeway use instead of encourage it by building these parking rides. They're not really supported by Federal Transit Association either. It's kind of out of style, basically, out of popularity with the transit agencies. So just another fairly dumb idea from the IBR. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Bob. Okay, I don't know that we've had anybody new that's joined, but just wanted to invite anybody else who'd like to make a public comment at this time. You can use the raise hand feature on your Zoom app. A handful of people have noted project videos that we've posted to the website. So as we're waiting for additional people to raise their hand to provide comment, just going to play those visualizations in the background, but please do feel free to raise your hand at any point and we can cut that off and make space for your comment. So I'm going to switch the slide to a video. If you'd like to provide a comment, please do raise your hand and we'll turn that off and record your comment. Hey, Sarah, please provide your comment. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Just as someone who lives in one of the buildings that's slated for demolition with this new project, like I know that it has to happen. I am supportive of it. I love the idea of the extra stop on the line on the other side of the bridge in Oregon. But I'm here in Vancouver in my, almost 100-year apartment building that I love, that is affordable. And I understand that on the other side of current I-5, it's the fort, but no one's living in some of those buildings. And I know housing is an issue, and we're gonna take people's housing when there are nobody's living in some of the buildings on the other side of the current, where we currently are. And it's just, and there's there are businesses here too that I don't understand. And I'm not super thrilled, honestly. I don't want to move. I like it here. I like the walkability. I like downtown. I like the vibrancy of it. So thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comment, Sarah. Next, we have Amanda. And Amanda, you should be able to unmute. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I am a resident of Jansen Beach Mortgage, and we are going to be really impacted by the construction of the I-5 bridge. The Mortgage has a rich history here, from the Jansen Beach Amusement Park to current times, and we're very sad to be losing part of our Mortgage, part of that history. And many people are very sad, concerned, emotional, unsure about what's going to happen with their housing. It looks like we're going to lose at least one row, possibly more, and some of our residents permanently. And that's very sad. And we do want this to be seismically safe and have adequate transportation. But it's going to be very difficult to manage the impact on our Mortgage. So we are concerned about the loss of property, the loss of homes, the loss of income for our organization. We're concerned about the additional expenses that are going to be caused by tolling. I mean, we're trapped by the bridges. We don't have a grocery store. We don't have all of the services that we need on the island. So it's going to be very expensive for people to go and get the necessities that they need and to be able to move back and forth to go to work and take care of their business. What else? You know, I think that's all I have to say for now, but this is going to have a very profound impact on how we live here over the next, you know, you think that construction is going to be 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's more. So I would like just compassion to be shown towards the people that are impacted, and not just feelings. We need to make sure that those people are taken care of financially and given resources to be able to relocate, and assistance be provided to us and the other properties. I heard a lady speak a moment ago, whether in Oregon or Washington, that are going to be negatively impacted by this project. Tolling, a break in tolling is something that I have heard people talk a lot about, and not just for our low income residents, but for everybody, because we're going to have, you know, quality of life issues that come up during construction, and just want to try to mitigate those as much as possible and cooperate through that process. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Amanda. Okay. While we're waiting for additional comments, I'll return to the video. Okay, Bob.
I'll make some comments on your video. The video basically is flying over several hundred feet, I suspect. It has no, gives you no idea the impact at the ground level. The IBRs, I've asked for years for them to come up with graphics that show the ground level impact. And they've come, and IBR has not produced a single graphic that really shows the impact of what will happen on the ground. This freeway is going to be massive. It's going to be literally 100 yards the length of a football wide. Football field will be 170 feet wide, 270 feet wide, almost the length of a football field, and cover acres and acres of both Hayden Island and downtown Vancouver. And it will be elevated down. Now the freeway is kind of down in a trench. This is going to be up in the air. And it's going to be a real blight on both shores of the Columbia. Also, the freeway is going to go right over Terminal 1's proposed public market. I mean, I live in Seattle, and they always say public markets are the heart of Seattle. Well, you're going to have a public market with a stillbirth. The freeway is proposed to go right over the top of Terminal 1's proposed public market. I doubt anybody's going to want to shop underneath the roar and pollution that the freeway is going to dump down on their vegetables. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. And in case we have anybody that's new to this meeting, if you'd like to provide a comment to the public hearing, just click the raise hand button on your Zoom app. And we'll be happy to provide you 3 minutes to make a comment. Hey, Richard, I see your hand up. You have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I do thank you for putting this together. I really wish it was a two-way conversation. So if somebody has a comment and if it's wrong, we could get straightened out right up front, but it is what it is. I wanted to piggyback on Lori and Amanda. They are neighbors and friends of mine. I live at the Moorage, Jansen Beach Moorage. I've been here for close to 20 years. I can tell you that about every 4 or 5 years, I sit through the same meeting. They've proposed building this bridge since the day I got here, and probably 4 or 5 years prior to that. It gets all the way up to a head, and then they realize it's just totally impractical or whatever, and it never gets done. So I am not really that worried about it because it hasn't happened before, but in case it does, my concern, much like Lori's and Amanda's, is to be sure that the people that are impacted and are going to be forced to move and relocate are taken care of. I don't want to see them just thrown off the moorage, thrown out of this area, and up to them to figure out how to continue with their lives. That's important to me. The moorage itself, as Lori said, is going to be heavily impacted. We all pay dues here, and our monthly dues support the moorage. And if we lose 50 families, well, it probably means that the remaining people that live here, their dues are going to go skyrocketing to make up the difference, because the rest of the moorage doesn't change. We just lose the homeowners association dues from the people that will be forced to leave. Many residents here are retired. In fact, across Hayden Island, but certainly at this moorage. And additional money, whether it be in tolls or any additional expenses to them, is going to be very difficult for a lot of these people to manage and to absorb. I just want everybody on the commission to be very aware of that. It's also going to impact major retailers. Home Depot is going to lose business, Target, and some of the other retailers. And we that live here have come to rely on these businesses. It's very convenient to have Home Depot and not have to get in your car. You can just walk there. If we lose Home Depot, if we lose Target, that's going to be a big loss. My personal concern, above all of the aforementioned, is as I get older, I have found that I need more medical attention. And anybody that's crossed that bridge and into retirement is probably well aware of that. 99% of my medical attention comes from downtown Portland, OHSU to be specific. It's my understanding, I can't for the life of me figure out how I get from my house onto I-5 South without driving around halfway around Vancouver and wherever just to get on I-5 South. Anything that this project is going to do that's going to impede my access to medical facilities is a hardship, without question. And I'm sure that that is going to spread across all the people that live in this area and in Vancouver that rely on health facilities, hospitals, and what have you in downtown Portland. So I think that needs to be addressed. I'm not sure how you get on I-5 South and if it's going to be any harder than it is right now. Right now, it's not. It's easy. We just drive down the street around a couple of turns and we're on I-5 South. I don't see how that's going to happen with this new project. So I think that needs to be clarified. And that's really all I had to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment, Richard. Yes, Bob.
Yeah, I'd just like to comment on the several people mentioned they like light rail. The light rail stations are going to be on Vancouver side about 80 feet in the air. I think they're going to be 40 feet up in the air on the Hayden Island side. They're going to require elevators. Not very good locations. It's the high bridge dictates these high transit stations. Pretty impractical to have elevators to get to these stations, and basically one's going to be right over the you have to take down the Hurley Tower to build the station, and so the one of the great advantages of a immersed tunnel, basically you could put the traffic in that and recycle the two existing bridges. for one for maybe local traffic and walking, and one for the light rail, keep it down at the ground level, make it much simpler, less expensive. I think that right now those bridges are, they say it's going to cost up to $250 million to take them down, 250 million. I think the earthquake danger has been totally overhyped. And if you built an immersed tunnel for traffic, you would have a secondary connection anyway, and then use the existing bridges for walking and biking. And you wouldn't have a 80, 90 foot climb. The bike trails are absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I could not climb that. I walked with crutches. There's no way I could climb the ramp to get up on this bridge that they're proposing with the 80, 90 foot spiral. I mean, you have to be an Olympic cyclist to get on that bridge. So basically, again, an immersed tunnel would be a simpler, cheaper, more rational solution. Unfortunately, it was, again, fraudulently disqualified. And actually the subsequent revision, I don't think was ever promulgated to, the LPA was based, the LPA decision was based on this fraudulent valuation. And 2 years later, they issued two revisions that I don't think was ever promulgated properly to the 8 agencies that made this decision on the LPA. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. I wanted to highlight, Amanda, please go ahead.
Thank you. I just had one more comment quickly, and that is regarding the construction impact on the submerged land, like the soil that supports our pilings in the rows that will be remaining, and how that might also impact with the boats going back and forth or whatever is occurring there. The bank erosion. Very concerned about losing more bank in the process of this. And so what would the impact of the construction be on our land and our environment here? Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Richard, we'll get to you in just one moment. I wanted to reiterate a couple of items that I may not have fully explained before. So all of the comments that people are sharing tonight are going to be included into the formal comment record of the project environmental impact statement. And all of the comments that are shared tonight will be responded to in the final environmental impact statement. So you can expect to see a response to your individual comments when the final EIS is published. Another thing I wanted to note, especially as we're hearing about individual impacts, is that we do have the ability to accommodate office hours. So if you go to interstatebridge.org/calendar, you can sign up for an individual meeting to talk about your specific concerns with a member of the project team. And we do align those technical experts with the specific needs that you have. So I recognize that this is a common opportunity and not a question and answer session, but you do have the ability to schedule a direct question and answer session with a technical expert by visiting interstatebridge.org/calendar. So just a reminder that that resource is available to you. And with that, Richard, you have 3 minutes.
Have 1 minute. Am I muted? Yeah.
I can hear you, Richard. Please go ahead.
Okay. One comment I would like to make concerning the comment on the earthquake danger on the bridge. I would like to refer to the damage that the Loma Prieta earthquake did to the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge, where they had to replace the whole span, and that bridge was a lot newer than the bridge we're talking about.
Thank you for your comment, Richard. And just a brief note as we move forward. I appreciate everyone's interest. And I just want to make sure that the comments you provide are speaking from your own experience and your own interest and your own research on the final EIS, and that we are commenting from our own interest and not providing a back and forth through comments. So I appreciate everybody's interest in the program and their thoughts, but please do limit your comments to your own experience and your own needs. With that said, we'll go with Tim Duncan and then come back to you, Bob. Tim, please go ahead.
Oh, yes. I have a concern, not only from a lot of the other concerns that have already been addressed, but I have a concern about the arterial bridge. I think that's the bridge that's going to go from North Portland Harbor to Hayden Island. I'm worried about that becoming a commuter bottleneck, and us on the island not being able to commute very happily to North Portland and back. I can see that easily because there's so much traffic off of Marine Drive. I can see easily those coming from the west going to Vancouver will not get on I-5 there, but hop over the arterial bridge to Hayden Island and then get on 5 North from there, and vice versa, coming back the other way. So I'm really concerned about that, and I hope that will be addressed, and I look forward to hearing back about that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Tim. Bob, please go ahead.
It was
Yeah, the comment about the earthquake in the Bay Area.
Hey, Bob, I'm just going to cut you off there. We're making comments specific to our research of the final EIS, and I just want to be careful that this doesn't become a dialogue this session.
No, it just jarred your comment. Basically, when I sent this into the IBR before. Basically, when that quake happened, the Bay Bridge came down, but the immersed tunnel for BART 3 miles underneath the bay kept running. It just didn't stop at all. So actually, it just proved that immersed tunnel, there's a couple dozen of these in Japan too, that's much more resistant than a bridge. And I've made that point to the IBR several times. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. I'll return to the video as we're waiting for additional comments. Okay, I've got 7:15 on my clock. And we had mentioned that we were going to do a 5-minute break at 7:15. So we will reconvene at 7:20 and we will talk to you all in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, welcome back. If you took a break, it's 7:20. And here we are again. So if you'd like to make a comment, please raise your hand. If you've joined since we went on a break, we are accepting comments to the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program Supplemental Draft Environmental Impact Statement. And all of your comments will be entered into the project record and will be responded to in the final EIS. And while we're waiting for additional comments, I'll once again put forth the offer of IBR office hours. So this is your opportunity to set direct time with a member of the IBR team. And you can do that either virtually or in person in the project office. We're happy to accommodate whatever works for you, and you'll be able to select the time and we will provide the right technical expert to meet your needs. So if you have questions and you want to dig in deeper on the draft SEIS or ask any other questions about the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program, please do take advantage of that opportunity and sign up at interstatebridge.org/calendar. And I'll return us back to the video. And if you have a comment you'd like to make, again, please do raise your hand and we'll pop back. Okay, Joshua, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've got a story, but I will get to the point here. So my name is Joshua. I live on JBMI. My house will be likely in the sites for this bridge project to be removed. A little bit myself. I live here on the water. I started out in 2007. I came from the East Coast to West Coast to go to sea. I was very unsuccessful until I got on tall ships and sailed up and down the West Coast. I was looking for nature and camaraderie, and I found those things. And I remember going out in October on the coast of the Oregon coast in 35-foot seas and being the only person on the helm and then waking up the next morning just to mountains of chipped glass and just thinking like, wow, there's nowhere else in the world I'm supposed to be than right here, right now. And so for me, going to sea was, I thought, more of an exorcism, but I found out later it was more of a pilgrimage. And I found kind of what I was looking for. I'm from Illinois originally. My last name literally means dry land. It's the opposite what I was raised with. But now I live on the water. And every morning I wake up and I look at how beautiful it is. And I feel that same feeling I felt back then of being there's nowhere else in the world I'd want to be than right here, right now. And this bridge, in particular the light rail extension, will destroy our community because it's going to wipe out our homes and they can't be replaced. You can't build new morages for these things. We own our slips, which is unique. Yeah, and I have my 100-ton captain's license. I'm an ABYC, American Boat Yacht Council Master Technician. I work and I live on the island. The two are ingrained with each other. But yeah, it's a special thing. And we talk about it all the time, about how sacred it is, how amazing it is. We see ducks and beavers every day, which are, I mean, is there two more classic Oregon animals out there? We have otters and herons. It's just a rich, just ecological space. And just to be part of that is just, it's quieting, you know, and I have that connection to nature and camaraderie. I know all my neighbors. I didn't know that when I lived in Portland proper or anywhere else for that matter. It's just, it's such a tight knit community. And it's just very special. It's very unique. And I think that's it for that. So yeah, but thank you for doing this and hearing us. So I'm going to get off the phone, I think.
Thank you for your comment, Joshua. Joshua, did you have another comment or was that an accidental hand raise?
I think it might have been accidental. So
Okay.
I do have more comments, but I'm not like prepared to do it. So I'll be writing stuff in, but you know, I don't know. I think more people can see this, so this has more value.
Okay, well, we're here until 8:30, so if something comes to mind in the next hour.
I'm listening and then like working on my porch here. So
okay, all right. Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bob, please go ahead.
Okay, just keep this conversation going. About 5 years ago, Roger Millar, which is the head of the Washington Department of Transportation, gave a speech to the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. He said it was physically impossible to fix congestion. But he's supporting a 5-mile expansion of adding 1, maybe 2 lanes to relieve congestion. It's been proven over and over again that an extra lane just increases congestion, increases induced demand. So not me saying it's an imprudent expenditure of up to probably $9 billion by the time this is done. Much better to build not expand the freeway. I would suggest building an immersed tunnel for traffic and repurposing the 2 existing bridges, saving probably somewhere in the order of $5 billion. So that's something more to add to the, but basically Roger Millar, obviously a national authority, he was head of American Association of Highway Transportation Officials for a while. So you can't fix congestion with more money. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. Lucas Kerber, please go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I guess I have like 1 or 2, a few comments, but then some questions too. I know this isn't really us voting on the project. It's already been passed and everything. I comment about the congestion. Yes, adding new lanes might not make congestion go away, but one thing that will really help is adding light rail, max, maybe even a streetcar or something like that. Those are huge infrastructure projects that this area can really benefit from in a big way. And of course, the bicycle and pedestrian connectivity, those are just these, to me, those are the humongous selling points of the whole project. So a concern, having said that, a concern of mine is that last I heard, we do not have a stamp from the Coast Guard, the military, of us building a lower deck. What I would hate to see is for us to get really far into the planning of it, and then all of a sudden at the very last minute, the Coast Guard says, no, we need that extra height. We need the bridge to be a certain height. So I think if there's any way that we can get a formal go-ahead from the military, that would be truly fantastic, I think. So there's that. It's kind of my big point there. I mean, another thing, the other thing that I wanted to mention, this is just like very detailed, like a little bit of a history of me. When I moved to Portland, I sold my car beforehand. This was in the early 2000s, and I biked everywhere. I biked to PSU. I did everything by bike. I think a lot of us did in the early 2000s. We were purportedly the #2 bicycle city in the world, second to Amsterdam. One truth that I foresee about like bicyclists going over the bridge, and I mean, to a certain extent, pedestrians and mainly like micro mobility, like the small e-scooters and stuff, is they are going to get to the bridge quite along, or the road that goes over to the bridge, the I-5 or the path, quite a ways before the highway. So in other words, they're going to go like a smooth, like, up and over. They're not going to have to use the staircases right next to the river at the riverfront park. This second point is specifically just about the staircases or the spiraling ramp right next to the water, right next to the riverfront. I mean, I just don't think that they're going to get used very much. And I don't really think that, I don't know if there's a way, we should consider kind of downplaying them, or I don't know if we can even leave. I mean, maybe we do need them, but I mean, a grandiose spiraling staircase to allow a bicyclist connectivity to the waterfront right there. I just don't think that's going to be as applicable. I mean, it's just something to look into. If there's a massive like bicycle route right next to the river, then maybe. But I don't know. I think a staircase would be fine. A lot of the other bridges in Portland just have staircases. They don't have like grandiose spiraling thing. And honestly, we could look at those other staircases and see, are they really used that much at all compared to our people just going over the bridge, like entering the bridge earlier on. So that's that. And then, I mean, just in summary, like again, I just praised the light rail capability of the new bridge, and I mean, I have some questions around that too. Like, it's not really going to be exactly plug and play into a Vancouver system. There's no existing streetcar or MAX over there, but I mean, obviously, this will spur that on. And then, of course, that I'm sure this has already been studied. Like, does Vancouver have enough money to just install a streetcar system or a MAX system? I'm quick to assume it's going to be the MAX, but then again, the Vancouver mayor was talking about there being a streetcar in the downtown waterfront area. Streetcars can go up to like 50 miles an hour, so a streetcar in theory could totally go over the bridge, no problem. Anyway. That is pretty much my comment. Thank you for giving us this platform to speak on.
Thank you, Lucas, for your comment. And since it came up, I'll just make another pitch for IBR office hours. So if you have specific questions that you'd like to dig into more detail with, I do recommend signing up for IBR office hours. And you'll be able to dig into all of those details and ask the questions of technical staff. And that information is at the bottom of this slide, interstatebridge.org/calendar. Sorry, I lost the slides for a moment, but they're back. And in case we have any new attendees in the last few moments, we are just playing this video as we await people's comments. So if you'd like to comment, please use the raise hand feature on your Zoom app. And sorry about that. And we'll be happy to accept your comment. Bob Ortblad, please go ahead.
Very good, thank you. I just want to point out that the IBR has a $23 million communications and PR budget. And over a month ago, I sent in 5 fairly simple public comment questions, and the IBR is yet to respond to any of them. It took a couple weeks just to get an acknowledgement. So I think their response has been, and what I understand too, the IBR is not going to publish any of these public comments until 2025 after they've had a chance to sort through them and respond to them and summarize them. I believe they should publish everyone online as it comes in. There's no reason they can't. Should let the public see what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Bob. Tim Duncan, please go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I just wanted to make another quick comment if I could. First of all, I do want to thank everybody for their great comments and especially Lori and Amanda and Richard. I'm also a member of Jansen Beach Mortgage resident. And so I really relate to what they discussed. The other thing I wanted to mention was as I was thinking about traffic flow with the half interchange, it doesn't seem to make sense to me, or I'm wondering what the thought processes were in coming up with having the half interchange northbound centric. That is, Hayden Island is Portland, but yet Vancouver has easy on and off access to our island, whereas Portland doesn't. North Portland Harbor doesn't, and we don't have readily access to I-5 either on Hayden Island, except northbound to Vancouver. It seems to me it would have made much more sense to have the half interchange southbound centric, whereas Hayden Island belonging to Portland would have easy on and off access to I-5 and to the rest of Portland. So now if we want to go to Vancouver, we have to go across the arterial bridge over to North Portland, then go on I-5 and go north. So that doesn't make sense to me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Tim. Joshua Landry, I see your hand raised. Please go ahead. Joshua, are you there? Hi, Joshua.
I'm here.
Yes, okay, please go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I just want to leave a quick comment. So I live on at Jansen Beach. My house is going to be affected by this. I will lose my home to make light rail access to people in Washington. Anyways, so I bought my house in January 5th. On January 8th, a giant barge shows up in front of my house, just obliterating my view. I can't see anything. So I just bought my house. Should be the happiest time of my life. Now it's just been destroyed because this giant barge shows up for the IBR. They were there for 20 days. No one in the mortgage knew about it. They were on the phone for 2 weeks trying to find out what they were responsible for. I ended up seeing them going back across the river on the west side and ended up catching them as they were getting done with work and asked them. They were geologists. Anyways, they used their tug that was attending them as their power plant. Now, it was aimed and sitting about 5 feet away from my back porch. I have water rights to that area. That's part of my home. I ran a tape there and exactly 5 feet. I have pictures of it and everything. Well, anyway, so that's blowing diesel exhaust into my house, setting off my fire alarms, carbon monoxide. Anyways, making my house untenable, which I just bought 3 days prior. And then, I can't be, I'm losing my mind because I paid cash, every dime I own went in this house to buy this house. And all of a sudden it's the worst decision I've ever made. Worst 2 weeks of my life because of this. And eventually the mortgage got a hold of them and found out things I'd already found out. And the same response was like, we're just trying to do our job, which is just that everyone was trying to say that and getting defensive about it. And it's just horrible. And eventually, 20 days later, they were gone, but no contact, no anything, just a giant wall 5 feet away from my back door pumping poison into my house. And so I couldn't be here for the first 20 days of my owning this house. I couldn't be in my own house. That's the winter storm hit. Those are east winds. So east winds blowing this, diesel exhaust into my house. And I had ice damage because of it, because I wasn't here to take care of it. So I got a ice dam and I got floor damage in my main bedroom. I had to rip the whole floor up because of it. Just one thing begetting another. So anyways, but that's all I want to say about that. So that was my first introduction to this was 3 days. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening to me and letting me say my bit. So I'm gonna be done.
Okay. Thank you for your comment, Joshua. Okay. We are here until 8:30, and at any point, please do feel free to raise your hand, and we'll stop what we're doing to allow you to make a comment. While we're at this pause here, there were just a couple of slides I wanted to review again for the good of the order. So you can access the draft SEIS to find more detailed information in several ways. It's available on our website at interstatebridge.org/draft SEIS. And on that website, you can see the various chapters of the document, executive summaries in English and in other languages, and you can review the content. If you'd like to see a hard copy, there are multiple options to do that, including at the IBR office. You're welcome to drop in Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to review that document. Vancouver City Hall, Vancouver Community Library, the Charles Jordan Community Center in Portland, and the Portland Building. And I know I've mentioned this multiple times, but I do recommend if you have specific questions or you need more information, please do sign up for IBR office hours. And you can sign up on our website at interstatebridge.org/calendar. And we'll be happy to set something up for you with a project technical expert or whatever discipline you'd like to know more about. We've recorded all of the comments provided tonight via a court reporter, so we've transcribed your individual comments. They will all be included in the in the comment record and will be provided in full in the final EIS with responses. So every comment you've made tonight will be published verbatim in the final EIS along with a response. So thank you for your participation in that effort. If you have additional comments, there's other way to participate. You can comment on the website at interstatebridge.org/draft SEIS. We've got a form there available for you that you can fill out. You can email your comment directly to draftSEIS@interstatebridge.org. You can send a comment via mail to the IBR office at 500 Broadway, Suite 200. And you can call our phone line to leave a verbal comment. There's options for many languages. So if you know somebody who speaks a language other than English, we likely have them covered, and they can leave a verbal comment at 866-427-7347 or 866-IBR-SEIS. The comment period deadline is November 18th. That's a Monday, so just a few weeks away. So please do encourage people you know who may be interested to complete a comment to do so. We're accepting comments to November 18th. And we appreciate any information that people provide about their review of the SEIS and their concerns and their thoughts. One other thing I'd like to point out is that we are very interested in your feedback about how we're doing in this event and other events that we've conducted for the Draft SEIS. So there's a QR code that's on the screen that you can check with your phone or another device, probably your phone, and be linked to a survey that you can provide feedback about how this event worked for you and any accessibility needs you may have in the future. We're also using this QR code to collect demographic data to understand who we're reaching and who we're not reaching. So if you're able to take a few moments to complete that QR code, it means a lot to us, and we'd appreciate that. With that said, we still have about 12 minutes remaining. Do feel free to raise your hand if you'd like to provide another comment. Otherwise, I'm going to leave us on this slide here until we reach time. So thank you. wanted to note that we have 5 minutes remaining in our time together tonight. So if you do have any lingering comments, now would be a good time to make those comments. Okay, so we're just about at time. Again, I want to share my thanks for everybody who participated in tonight's event. It's really appreciate that you took time out of your schedule to join our public hearing and share your comments. They help us with the next phase of the environmental process. So thank you again for your participation. And also thank you to our interpreters who were able to provide an accessible meeting to everybody who would like to participate. So that said, enjoy your Wednesday evening, and thanks again for joining. Take care, everyone.